Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here at our Editors' Days in Santa Clara. Joining me in the studio is Mike Bannock from Vectra. Mike, thanks for joining me. Glad to have you with us.
Thanks, Eric. My pleasure.
So, security. A lot of thoughts, a lot of approaches to how to handle security in the enterprise. You've got a little different thought process around that, around something you call the security gap. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the security gap is defined by what people deployed to prevent an attack, and then the set of tools that they use to clean up an attack that's happened. And so this year they're going to spend about $12 to $14 billion on tools to prevent attacks. Wow. So next-gen firewalls, IPSs, sandboxes, things like that. And probably another $6 to $8 billion on either log managers, security information event managers, and forensic services, hiring PwC when someone from the FBI tells them that a bunch of their data is in Kazakhstan and they have to recreate the crime. Yet, from the day that they're trying to prevent that first incursion into the network to the time they get that phone call is weeks to months, and that's that gap that we address filling.
Why does that gap happen? If an intrusion happens, theoretically, I should have the measures in place to notify me that something has happened. But you're saying that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And it all, if we look at the cyber attacker's blueprint, first thing he wants to do is gain access into your network. Then once he gets there, he is running reconnaissance. He's trying to build a map of your network. Then once he gets an idea of what that network looks like, he wants to increase his footprint in the network and gain control. Then he can find the data that is valuable, accumulate it, and then steal it. So all of his activity is actually what we call east-west traffic. It's moving host to host inside the network, and the $12 to $14 billion is being spent inspecting traffic to and from the internet, trying to find that initial incursion. So it's not even looking in the right place.
Interesting. So how do you propose companies resolve that situation?
Well, first thing is they need to inspect different traffic. So whenever somebody talks to us, we always advocate you've got to deploy a steep in a network. We need to sit at an intersection between the key assets you want to protect and the attack surface, which is usually a set of human beings that are accessing those key assets. So we can actually now see the traffic that's going between the hosts that those users are using and the hosts that contain that key data. So if there's any nefarious behavior, we can find that. And that's the key thing. We're looking for behavior. We're not looking for a match on a signature. So we're looking for what the threat is doing in the network, or the attacker is doing, or the malware is doing, rather than what exactly malware is.
What kinds of things? Can you be a little more specific about the kinds of things that you're looking for? What do you mean by behavior?
Sure. So let's say I attack your company, and I want to steal data from you. I want your subscriber list because I don't want to go and recreate it on my own. Well, I get somebody who's devious to lure you into a phishing attack. You take the bait. Your computer doesn't have the data I want to steal. Right. However, once the attacker gets onto your computer, it knows an IP address and a subnet mask inside your network. Now the attacker's going to start to do things to perform reconnaissance. He's going to say, all right, I know one subnet. Let's see if I can find some others. Let's reach out to some IP addresses. So he figures out, all right, they got 18 subnets. There's an average of 70 hosts per. But in the process, he hits some IP addresses that your IT department's never assigned. That's going to show up odd. After he finds them, he's going to scan ports. What ports are open on these machines so I can communicate covertly? And then he's going to try to extend his footprint. Whatever malware he got onto your computer, it got through the firewall. Let's get it everywhere. Let's replicate it. And at some point, your credentials alone don't get into every system, so he's going to steal some other ones and escalate privilege. All of these are the behaviors that are telltale signs that an attacker is going about his business and are signs that we can stop it before he accumulates data and steals it.
How do you find that?
Well, the nice thing is, whenever people look at security, they think it's an infinitely unsolvable problem because there's so many users, they have so many devices, the perimeter's been diffused. The cool thing about the network is it gives us a constant in this big mathematical equation. There's only certain things that people can do on a network in order to carry out these objectives that allow us to build algorithms that look for this behavior in real time. And that's the cool thing is within seconds of somebody performing recon or spreading that malware package, it fires a detection. And then the other cool thing is rather than just sending off an alert, hey, there was reconnaissance, it's all that is correlated to your computer. We saw reconnaissance, we saw some command and control traffic, we saw some lateral spread. Well, we now have lots of instances for 3 different types of behavior all correlated to your machine, it tells us your machine is high risk. Your machine represents one of my biggest risks to the network, to the business today. So I can prioritize that very easily.
How are you deployed within the enterprise?
It's a cool thing, we're all software. So, some people like to buy software preloaded on appliance, makes it really easy. People like it in a virtual format where they can deploy it anywhere on their own. They have that choice as well. Our software comes in 3 layers. There's 3 things we do. We have sensing, which is like our eyes and ears as a human being. We have second layer, which is a brain, which is thinking and processing. And then the last is we provide reporting, single pane of glass. The sensors as software or little appliances can be put anywhere you want. So wherever that attack surface exists as user groups, wherever the key assets exist, you can deploy that. But you only need one brain, and that brain provides your single reporting. So it's great if you want to expand your business and you want to go into a region that's unfriendly or where you don't have any IT staff. You can go put a physical sensor, a virtual sensor, but you can still do all of your thinking, all your brain activity, all your reporting in the place where your IT staff is.
Interesting. Do customers use your product in conjunction with more traditional signature-seeking security methods?
Absolutely, because those devices are necessary filters to keep bad things out. Even though the fact they have a signature means that somebody over there got attacked, and we were able to write the signature to protect you. Those things are still essential, but they're not preventing everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the headlines we have.
So it's not one or the other. It's you should be doing both.
Right, and they tend to integrate at the API level because if we do find threats that are severe enough, those devices are sitting in line, whether it's an IPS or a firewall, and those devices then can block based on a human decision or could be fully automated.
Do you, because you're not looking for those signatures, do you then have to keep pace with what's happening with the bad guys, if you will, in a different manner?
That's a very logical way to think about it. It's somewhat true, but not linearly. So, IPSs and antivirus are the same. They both work on signatures.
Sure.
You probably see an update on your computer, every day saying signatures were updated.
Right.
We don't update things as frequently because when you think about malware, like Conficker, there were lots of versions of Conficker. They all behave exactly the same way. That algorithm can catch any version of them because it's looking for what it does. Our customers all opt in for metadata sharing, so our data scientists, they'll tune the algorithms so we can update those to get increasingly more effective. And occasionally we'll roll out new ones, but we might roll out 5 in a year, not 5,000 signatures a year.
Excellent. Certainly sounds like you're helping companies get things a little more under control. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Eric.